Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixelriffs. Our writer is Sly XP. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. And this week, quite aside from anything that happened on the Hermitcraft server, Mojang removed my podcast from the game. Turns out there are so many ways to load chunks these days that the spawn chunks no longer need to be a thing as of the next gameplay drop. And if DocM's existence is anything to go by, they've been obsolete for quite a while. So really, this is your invitation to go listen to the Spawn Chunks podcast while you still understand the connection between the name of the show and the game we talk about every week. Fortunately, they haven't also cancelled the idea of being a hermit, so the server has been ticking over for the last couple of weeks, although we decided to wait a week to make up for everyone who's been distracted by the Past Life series. We can only assume the stress of that series is what's turning Mumbo old, and it does seem to have caught up with him this week, more on that later. But we also see yet more people signing up to Skizzleman's pyramid scheme now it's complete, but it isn't the only maddening maze the hermits will be flinging themselves into, because Impulse SV announced the grand opening of Metro Mayhem, his own personal Ace Race-inspired project underneath the cyberpunk city of Pixel Pulse Valley. And as a control experiment, just so he can prove conclusively whether or not the hermits are operating within normal parameters, he invited MCC veteran Jojo Solos onto the server this week to playtest the course sight unseen. We just wonder how much of the hermit history section Jojo will be absolutely baffled by, given that some of it is a distant memory even for fans like us. But without further ado, start your engines and let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Impulse SV, who naturally has a head start because he's been designing Metro Mayhem for months now. But true to his word, he finishes the course in style by time-lapsing the Season 6 plot of the race through past Hermitcraft servers, this one full of references to the Civil War plotline and Area 77.
In fact, it's so cramped, I feel like I can't even properly show this off.
He also introduces a few new elements, like the fact that the Ninja Turtles share their pizza with you now, and he shares the sections he's had help with, like Zombie Cleo's incredible armor stand depictions of the Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady, which look like fully posable action figures, especially when the people running past them have no knees or elbows.
So yeah, I owe Cleo a special private run-through with Cleo where I can show Cleo all the little tricks of the course.
And with the course now formally open, Impulse announces the hermits will have the next 2 weeks to log their high scores on Metro Mayhem before Season 1 of the race is over, and he has to pay Cub even more money for fireworks.
I know some of them are going to be finding all the shortcuts.
So we can expect some pretty specific videos from Keralis and XP Crafted, given they've dedicated a weekend to pretty much every other minigame on the server.
Yeah, 1 point happens. Story of my life.
Including Gasket Ball, which just never gets old for XP because he also brought Joel Smallish Beans to play against at some point. Their collab is quite funny in that Joel actually reveals the secret Fight Club arena to XP, despite him not being in the secret Fight Club, while XP has actually completed the quest to build a custom PvP arena way before ever getting invited to the secret Fight Club.
Ow. Yes, I'm the best. I'm sorry, XP. It's official. It's official. Another XP head to add to the collection.
Joel also shows him the XP head in the glass box in the artificial skylight room. That one's not even secret, he just has that on display for the public. Now XP Crafted has no issue keeping himself in a box without outside help, thank you very much, but the more round part of his base is still unfinished, so he keeps himself in that one this time. The out-of-scale train car he keeps at the bottom of the ocean now gets a bamboo farm and the adjacent super smelter, which if anything makes it a locomotive because that's close enough to an engine. The prismarine brick retaining wall for the glass, on the other hand, makes it as stuck in there as it was in Season 9.
The stairs are mostly done, a few finishing touches. Ooh, actually, I see a finishing touch right now.
In the meantime, Skizzleman tells Cubfan135 in DMs that Gasket Ball is the greatest and most infuriating thing ever made. To try and prove him right, Cubfan goes on to add some quality of life changes to the game, his life specifically as the person running it. For one, he won't have to manually rebrew the slow-falling potions necessary for long leaps. There is a potion brewer appendix in the team room that just does it for him. Isn't Redstone wonderful?
And the best part is, the profile of this game remains the same as it was before.
Also, there's now an additional longer jump ROM hack mode that gives speed and jump boost effects to the players, plus an audio reminder to refresh on the slow-falling drinks that goes off when they're about to run out.
Happy Gas Arena reminds you, drink your potions. Telling people to drink potions, and it also keeps the music loop going.
All of this just in time to invite 7 more server mates to try out the Ghast parkour in a 4-on-4 battle of Zombie Cleo, Azumovoid, Joe Hills, and Mumbo Jumbo versus Cubfan, Etho, Skizzleman, and Tango, featuring team jerseys and made-up pseudonyms for each player. On top of their made-up pseudonyms, I hope. Who even knows what Joe Hills' real name is?
And representing the away team in blue, Joe Tennessee-style Hills.
From Joe's perspective, we realize it's all about controlling possession of the Ghasts by making sure you hold the ball, by which we mean the snowball. We also learn that Gasketball is a contact sport, and that Mumbo's height is still somehow an advantage despite this game being played in Minecraft.
I was doing pretty well. I got a few 3-pointers, a few 2-pointers, couple of oneers.
All right,
Nice one.
we got a ringer.
Yeah.
He's a natural. He's a natural.
I am a natural. Yeah.
Back at the Holmdel Museum, Joe finds himself in a prism of his own making, as he decides to remodel the glass triangle he's laid out to demonstrate white light splitting into its component colors. He even adds colored beacons at the end to give it the extra flair of traveling up the wall, where presumably we'll see it on the dark side of the moon.
I feel like this will really give a certain amount of vibrancy to the exhibit that we just haven't seen before in this museum.
That's not the only triangle Joe tangles with, though, because he signs up to throw himself into Skizzleman's hierarchy of needs pyramid, dresses for the occasion, and despite dying a few times in the maze of darkness, he finds his way to self-actualization, although sometimes through some creative use of the environment.
Hey! See, this is why dealing with the food in the lower stages properly pays off later.
If you're not even sure what's going on with Skizz's pyramid, look no further than Rendog, who provides a pretty succinct recap before discovering for himself that oxygen is a fundamental human need. And for that matter, so are unbroken ankles.
Skizz, I'm already starting to think a little bit thanks to this.
Ren's run up the pyramid is a more contemplative one, both in his observations of the mechanics at play and the human philosophy behind the whole exercise. You'll learn a lot about the pyramid, but you'll also learn a little about Rendog, and Ren might even learn a little about himself, which is pretty wholesome for a death maze that tries to kill you with lava.
Don't rush those things. Take them one little footstep at a time, he says, as he dies in lava.
The creator of said death maze has now finished decorating it with palm trees, and while visiting frustration on his server mates, needs to visit other forms of frustration elsewhere on the server himself. So he tries Cubfan's Dragon Egg Parkour Challenge, which doesn't get you the Dragon Egg. There can be only one, especially after last time, but it does get you a banner with the Dragon Egg emblazoned on it. It takes Skizz some coaching from Gemini Tay and, by his own admission, 50 plus attempts, but eventually he has a new addition to the trophy room in his house, and confirmation that his friend Impulse can identify an egg.
You know what that is?
It looks like an egg.
That's an award. Do you know what that is an award for?
You are excellent.
And finally there's Mumbo, who has achieved self-actualization all on his own, without the aid of any pyramids, and is now Colonel Sanders. It's actually not surprising he looks like the KFC figurehead, considering his goal is to transplant his brain into a chicken by the end of the season.
For those of you who don't know, at the end of this season, I'm installing my brain into a chicken, and I'm going to live forever in Hermitcraft Season 10. It's very exciting.
To do that, apparently he needs to finish his giant mountaintop supercomputer, which means making sure it has a short back and sides, which is probably why he realizes halfway through that it looks a bit like his new pearly white hair.
It's feeling very boxy. Maybe when we start adding details into the side, it will get better. Honestly, it's looking a bit like the side of my head, to be honest with you. Look at that. Right.
After proving to these young'uns that he can still dunk on them in basketball despite his advanced years, Mumbo finishes the computer and therefore perhaps considers his entire base build complete. It makes a great occasion to review the additions to his zone of the server fan art gallery, especially right now when he looks nothing like any of the portraits of him.
I don't know why I'm giving big Matt Berry energy here, and I'm a fan.
And that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is SlyXP, and my name is Pixel Riffs. Captions on this video were provided by Liara. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.